Hey everyone, we're in full force in 2024 and already at episode 5. If you're new, I'm Lou, your host of the Builder Upper Show, a podcast where we talk about everything in construction and trades. Now let's get into it. I would like to welcome our guest, Richard Elliott, owner of Elliott Construction Group, Kukulu'ana Management, Rescue One Restoration, Handy Andy Hawaii Service Division, and Pillar to Post. Oh, one more, Sure Step Hawaii. If that's not enough, can you believe it? How many things Rich Elliott is doing? So, Rich, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Awesome. Having a wonderful morning so far. How about yourself there, Lou?
I'm doing wonderful. It's the beginning of the year. I'm excited to, kick this off. This podcast will probably come out the second month of the year, but right now my feeling is just I'm full bore and I'm really excited to have you on the show. You're an entrepreneur with many talents and you have so much going on and you're juggling a lot. I'm glad that you're just spending the time with me right now to just talk about your experience. So maybe just to kick it off, you want to talk about maybe one of your most recent projects?
One of our most recent projects that we completed on the construction side, which is definitely a fun and interesting project, was redeveloping a pool in the middle of a hotel that was operating. It was quite an experience. It was something that I didn't expect to do or was, very intrigued on because the design was incredible and the team was incredible, but the site condition was not. But it turned out to be a very rewarding job. We learned a lot along the way. And then on the Kukulu'ana Management side, probably one of the most intriguing projects that we're having right now is we're actually the construction managers for the Cirque du Soleil show that's coming to Hawaii.
Oh,
So
wow.
so that project's going to be completed at the end of 2024, which is this year now. Wow, crazy. So they're going to have a standalone show that's coming to Hawaii, which is going to be pretty cool and pretty interesting. It's going to draw a lot of revenue for the state as well as just something really cool to be a part of because the only standalone Cirque du Soleil shows are in major metropolitan cities, and this is the first I would say smaller market, but is going to draw a lot of attention. So I'm very, very excited about that and look forward to the show launching at the end of November, early December. So that'll be pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Sneak peek into
Yeah.
into what's to come. Me and my wife are big fans of Cirque du
Yeah.
Soleil, so making a trip out to Hawaii just to enjoy that, yeah, absolutely. You get to
Yeah.
work in the fun weather like all year round. It's unbelievable. So does the weather aspect just make it that much more exciting to get outside and get stuff done?
100%. Everyone always asks, will I ever move back to Chicago? Not a chance.
No.
That I wear the same thing every single day. I never have to look at the weather report. It's either sunny or rainy. And like even on the weekend, it's like board shorts with a shirt or no shirt. That's our options. So it's
That
incredible.
sounds awesome.
Lifestyle, right? So when you have time and you have free time, what are you going to do? And the nice thing about Hawaii is when you have the free time, you're able to kind of jump right into it. Growing up in Chicago, you always have these wide array of things to do in the summer, but then the winter comes and it's like you have to A, spend money to go to like an event, or B, you're going out to dinner, or going out for drinks, which kind of gets it's not the healthiest lifestyle in the world. We're out here, you've got the beach at your fingertips, you got hikes at your fingertips, which is great.
Do you ever try surfing or anything like that, or any water sports?
Yeah, interestingly enough, you'll probably laugh at me, Lou, but I owned a beach concession, which is we rented out surfboards,
Oh,
umbrellas.
nice.
Yeah, so me and 3 of my friends, we own the beach concession at the Halikoa for 12 years, and it's the largest stretch of beach in Waikiki where we're able to rent out equipment. So that was really, really fun. I did that from when I was 24 to 24 to 36. So
Wow.
it was a really fun experience. I was the only white guy in Hawaii that owned a beach concession. But all my other friends, I kind of got brought in to help assist with the maintenance of equipment as well as like the development of the site. So that was really neat. But kind of got infused in a lot of the development and business side of things. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun. But working with 15, 18 to 24-year-olds a day was quite entertaining. So it was a great college job for a lot of kids because all you're doing is handing out surfboards, umbrellas, um, set up 150 umbrellas a day, and just understanding what they're going through and life. It's you experience a lot of life in those moments with your employees, which is a lot of fun.
That sounds amazing. I love surfing. I surfed probably since I was 17, learned
Okay.
in San Diego, brought it back and went unsalted surfing on Lake Michigan. It was a little
Woo!
rough. Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
little rough. You don't
Good on
it Lake Michigan doesn't let up, so you got to be ready for those waves, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's a rough one. Whew. Yeah, at least San
Yeah.
Diego, you get some salt water, but also too, you guys are wetsuits both locations pretty much year round, aren't you?
Yes. Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. You have so many businesses. It's wild. When did you get into construction?
I got into construction when I was 24. Well, I take that back. My I had three uncles that were masons. I had my stepdad who was a union plumber. Um, my brother-in-law at the time was a sheet metal worker, as well as my dad taught me finish carpentry. He installed hardwood floors on the side as he was a police officer. So I helped a lot with that. So I'd been around construction and I've been helping in construction for a long period of time. It was
Mm,
what drove me, I think, to architecture. So I got into architecture in high school and then went to Penn State. And I graduated in 2008 with a degree in landscape architecture.
oh,
It was an
wow.
accredited program, so I was able to be able to go out and in the field and get your license. But 2008, 2009 was not a great time to try and find a job in the market. So my grandfather asked me to come out to Hawaii and start renovating apartments with him. And as we started doing that, I got my license and I found that I really enjoyed doing it. I thought architecture had a lot of overlays and a lot of system overlays. And that was the complexity of it, where construction has like 16 overlays. So it makes things a lot simpler than
Mm,
architecture and landscape architecture. So I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And so what I started to do is I pretty much completed all trades from demo to finish. And when I didn't know something, I would bring in subcontractors and I would actually hire them on the weekends and I would be their laborer. So I
mm,
could figure out all their techniques and their language and how they were doing it. And then I would implement those during the week and then I would rehire them on the weekends so I could kind of get an understanding of how the professionals do it and then kind of create my own way of doing it and then making sure that I could educate myself enough to be able to direct them properly. So I did that for 3, 4 years and then I started hiring people and mostly just stayed in the high-end condo renovation realm and started to create like a good name for ourselves for high quality finishes. I've always been a big proponent of you. It's very hard to get to a high quality finish. It's easier to get to a low quality finish. So let's
mm.
just kind of create your name in the market there. And we did that over time, and quality was always the number one for me. I feel like you can charge a fair and good amount of money to be able to create a lifestyle if you do good work.
Yeah.
Um, and so that really started to develop, and from there, we hit a 5-man team and then a 15-man team, and then it kind of had to get out of the field. And then as we're in this 15-man team, I'm starting to understand that there's other areas and market sectors where you're kind of giving money away. Yeah, so I found an area of opportunity with restoration, and that's how Rescue One Restoration came about. We started noticing that we were giving away a lot of high dollar value demolition. So we decided rather than continue to give it away, we would take that upon ourselves. So I started to create a company with individuals to be able to kind of cover that market sector. And it took some time. We had a lot of bumps across the way, and you're understanding this is a high dollar value market stream, but you need to have a stream in order for that to continue to flow. As well as the restoration company, I was getting a lot of people asking me about handyman services, such as like, hey, we just acquired this client, and now we're looking for the client that wants a ceiling fan replaced, and it's like, that doesn't work with a construction company. It doesn't. We're not that agile in terms of the market sector. So I partnered up with one of my good friends who's no longer a partner, but he had a handyman division that he had created, and so we took that over. And it was a lot of ups and downs. You learned a lot about that market space because you're touching a lot of clients, and every time you touch a client, you're going to have more interaction. You're going to have more ups and downs, and where on the handyman side you do not. So it was that kind of came about, and we developed Pillar to Post. I should say I acquired Pillar to Post in, I forgot when I did that. I was working with a home inspector quite often. He was giving us repair jobs, and he's like, hey, I need to move to Iowa and I want to sell my company. And I was like, okay, sounds good. I guess I'll buy it. So I bought it from him. It's a franchise company. Once again, just kind of a market sector where you're going through and you're like, oh, found the opportunity. And you took an approach and said, okay, sounds good. So that kind of came about. And then I think, what was the next company? Kukulu'ana we were doing a bunch of work for Outrigger. So Outrigger Hospitality Group, we've been working with for 10 years, 15 years, and they've developed a real solid trust with understanding of our execution with Elliott Construction Group. So over time, we started doing a bunch of work with them, and everyone wants that big job or that big acquisition or this, but it really comes in stages. So we started with small repairs, $2,000 to $5,000 repairs, and then jumped to $25,000 repairs, and then $100,000 jobs, and then it keeps escalating from there. But the opportunity then presented over the past year and a half to be able to try and assist them in some of their development, because I was already doing that on my projects. They were just asking me to do it as a construction manager on their own development project, which was pretty cool. I was very honored for them to say, hey, can you assist us in this? And I was, of course, I would love to. So that was very exciting, and that's a different realm that I've been doing for 15 years. I just never really got paid for it. So people are always asking me questions and this and that, and then I'm a big proponent of give. And then the Sure Step Why was you're gonna laugh at this one. This was a very funny kind of acquisition thing. I was on a project and they spec'd the same tile, but one was like, I think $3 or $4 more. And it arrives, and I'm like, it's the same thing. I'm like, I go to Doll Tiles, like, it's the same. What did you charge? And I was like, and they're like, oh, no, there's a treatment you can put on tile, and the treatment will make interior tile carry an exterior rating. And I was like, no way. I don't believe you. This doesn't work. I was like, it's got to be topical, and then it comes off in a year, and it starts to yellow. And they're like, no, it's something different. So they flew a guy out to Hawaii to show it to me. So they do the treatment, and I was like, this is pretty cool. This works. And the best way to describe it is it takes a ping pong ball, transfers it into a golf ball. So what that does, it creates little pockets. So the pockets create suction cups. So when there's water there, it kind of sucks to your foot, which is pretty cool. And how it's done is removing soft particles from the tile. Hard particles would break the tile. The soft particles just remove like dirt and all these different residuals that are on there. You can't see it from the eye either. So I was like, okay. So I'm sitting down at the table talking to the guy, and he's like, well, I'm going to come back out here and whenever you guys are completed. And I said, okay, well, how much is that going to cost? Like, you coming out here, like, what do I need to provide you? He's like, oh, it's nothing. I was like, okay, cool. So you're just going to come back out here, treat the floor. How long are you going to be here for? He's like, maybe like 4 hours, and then I'm done. And I was like, okay. And I ran the numbers in my head. I was like, you flew to Hawaii and just to show me the product, flying back out here just to do 4 hours of work, and Doll Tiles charged me like $12,000 for this. I was like, I need this.
Yes.
This looks like a good product for me. So I asked him, I was like, how do I get a hold of it? Do I sell it? What do I do? He's like, oh, it's distribution rights. So I said, okay, who do I talk to for the distribution rights? This was on Wednesday. On Friday, I had bought the distribution rights, one of the rights for Hawaii. And there's 5 total. There's one gentleman that has another one. And then I had first right of refusal if anyone else wanted to acquire other license on my contract that I infused in, because I wanted to make sure that like I could control the market if I needed to.
Yeah.
So a week later, I had to buy the rest of them, but it was okay.
Wow.
So it's one of those things where if I had more time in the day, I definitely need to put some more energy towards that product, but I'm getting enough work that's streaming in organically, which is great. For example, there's a big restaurant in Waikiki, and I walked in and I almost fell. I was like, hey, you probably need this product in there. I was like, I'll just come over here and do a little sample test. And they're like, no. 3 weeks later, they're like, can we do that little sample test? And I did it. They're like, okay, do our whole restaurant right now.
Wow.
So it's one of those. It's just, but I, like you say, it's like I need more time to be able to develop, and the best way to development for something like that is you can do online. But I also think a commercial would really just pop that thing off. It would be really quick. It's just time allocation. So
Yeah.
I'm struggling on that one. Other ones are doing well though. So it's not always perfect. It's by any stretch. You see open areas and you build a team, and once the team's able to sustain itself, then you're pretty much there for the fire calls, and as well as continuing relationships with clients.
You like see the opportunity and you just go after it. It's wild. And what is this inspiration for you to be an owner? Like, does it run in the family? Is that what it is?
I don't think it's not everyone has it. B, I don't think of it. I've never thought of what I do as like I'm the owner. It's like you're the leader of the team. And once you've captured that, you'll notice the residual value you have on your employees and how they no longer think of it as your company, it's our company. And that's been a big thing for me. I always understand, even for me, I always tell everyone, go take vacation. Don't abuse it. I don't want you gone every other week, but also we understand that like we're human beings and we all have different whys, and you have to understand their why. And once you understand their why, you can really best engage with them. And then also I'm a big proponent, and this is something you're going to hear me tell like everyone, and I tell it in relationships and business, and no matter what you're doing, think of your relationships with your employees, with your clients, with your family as like a piggy bank. If you have a piggy bank and every day you put a penny in it, right? Over the course of 100 days, you're going to have 100 pennies in there. Have you ever tried to shake out 100 pennies out of a piggy bank? It's really hard, really, really hard. You know what I mean? So like, sometimes you're going to have to draw on those pennies, and like, you're going to have to rattle the piggy bank a little bit. So you're going to lose a couple, but you're not getting all 100 of them out. But what a lot of people like to do is put quarters in, and a quarters, if you have 4 quarters in there, it's yes, it's the same amount, but it's not the same meaning for people with touches, So, hey, how's your day going? What'd you grab for lunch today? What'd you do over the weekend? Those little things, stopping by just to see how things are going. Those are more important than like a big dinner here and there. They really want to feel heard, and they want to feel as if you're part of the team. They're part of the team. So that's huge for me. And I think it's a good thing you can take not only just in business, but also in your personal life.
You definitely concentrate on culture, which is
huge.
Wonderful. It sounds like that could be one of your secrets of scaling.
One thing I have the opportunity of doing too is I have like a great office girl that I can count on, Danielle. And the reason I can do the things that I do is that I have someone taking care of the stuff that I don't want to be taken care of, meaning our guy's getting a car accident. She takes care of that. She lets me know what's happening. She takes care of the insurance, the payroll, the this and that. And so that's something that's removed from my plate that allows me to keep my capacity open in regards to, taking on new jobs, or understanding like if I'm not in the office for a week, it doesn't matter, which is a huge help. Another thing that I found really good success in, and I was actually talking with my buddy, Cody, who owns a surf school. We were talking about employees and items that struggles he was going through. And I was talking to him. He's like, what do you think about like yearly raises or quarterly raises or this or that? I said, throw that out the window, man. That's like a very traditionalist mindset. I feel if you show up to work and you look across your table of all your guys and they all left tomorrow, what would you pay them?
Mm,
Right.
yeah,
And
that's big.
and if you look at across the table and you say, what do I wish to pay them? Or what would I pay them if they were gone? Pay them that, right? Because
Mm,
that's the value of them, right? And you'll never, as an owner, be upset if they leave and you already paid them what you feel they're justified for. It's like, you know what, you got a greater opportunity. It doesn't work with what we're doing here, but congratulations. So I'm a big guy on that one. I think that's treated me well because there's been some times guys are like, I was thinking about it. I feel like we've been super loyal to you, and it's like, yeah, you're right. You're right. I should have probably paid you a little bit earlier, but it's something that I did in my youth and I'm not doing as much anymore. So
what is Cody's surf school? Because I want to know. I selfishly want to know if I ever come out to Hawaii, give him a
Stoke,
shout out.
Stoke Drift.
Stoke Drift. Okay.
Yeah. Stoke
Yeah.
Drift Surf School. They're right in Waikiki.
Okay.
So it's a great little spot, and no, they're doing really well. I'm really proud of them. They've been growing a lot online as well as organically, and I look forward to seeing kind of their future when they branch out to. Because I'm encouraging, hey, keep growing, man, keep growing. Don't be
Yeah.
afraid. Don't be afraid.
We gotta make that a visit, a trip.
Definitely.
Make that one happen. Awesome. So when you mentioned previously when I was talking to you, you have a couple kids, you got your wife, and when you guys are out and about, driving around, do you ever show them, hey, Dad built that or anything like that? Do you ever point out any projects that you work on to them?
Oh, yeah. So my 4-year-old, it's actually quite entertaining because he loves coming to every job site I have. He wants to come there.
Oh,
Uh,
that's awesome.
yeah, I know he's a big construction guy, and so I let him do some cool things. I'll bring him in at like the end of the day, and so one day we went and got him all outfitted with PPE, and then we have these like standalone jackhammers. So
Oh,
I let him run it. It's on a stand, so there's my guy pushes it, but he felt like he was doing the whole thing. He's got the earplugs, eyes, and like gloves. It was so cute.
oh,
And
amazing.
so he was doing that, and I asked him to like clean up a little area. It was like a 3x3. He would not leave until he cleaned the whole thing up. And I'm talking like sweeping it, and like it was hilarious. Any concrete pour that we have, he is there. I mean, I'm telling you, I take him out of it's preschool, but my girl gets mad. Like whatever, it's preschool. He'll learn about W, a later day. Um, so he loves watching that stuff. But now I've gotten myself into the trouble is every single time because 4-year-olds ask a lot of questions. Every single time he sees a job site, he goes, Dad, you doing that? Dad.
Oh,
I'm like,
I
no.
like that.
He thinks I build everything, which is cool, but it's
Putting
not.
the pressure on you.
Yeah, really into Legos, very into Legos.
Yeah.
And he always tries to convince me that like the $650 like crane that we need it for our work. And I'm like, but I'm not using that thing at work.
He needs it in his bedroom.
Yeah, he needs it. I was like, I laugh at it, but I was like, it's, I'm not
Uh,
buying it, but I love the fact that the internal thoughts are, you're trying to figure out how you can get that thing.
I love that. A future pro, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
How do you have fun with your construction crew?
Um, I always say you got to show, whenever you show up to a job site, ever and forever. I try and stay away from disciplining any labor unless it's like a moral thing. I
Mm,
always encourage all my labor. If I have issues, I talk to my management away from my labor to make sure we keep like a positive energy and community. So very encouraging constantly. Also, lunches are a huge thing. Showing up and bringing just a water and a candy bar is a huge thing. Saying thank you is a huge thing. Um, and I think also you just kind of, since I grew from the bottom up in regards to doing the work and moving forward, you kind of understand like, hey, lunch is great when someone just shows up and you can sit down and have like a break for an hour or for 45 minutes. at the end of the day, everyone's thirsty, everyone's hungry, kind of thing. So just those little things over time. And when you see project success, don't always eat up all the capital or the proceeds with just yourself. I mean, a couple $100 here, a couple $100 there for all the guys, even the laborers, goes a long way for them.
Yeah.
Around the holidays is tough. Like, people are appreciative, and I would say the most appreciative people in your entire crew when you give away bonuses or do things around the holidays is probably your labor staff,
Mm.
which I would highly encourage, because those guys really are the groundwork of where you're starting, and their success is our success. And one thing, if I can give anyone perspective on, and this is something I've done with my staff a lot too. Try not to do it as much with my labor staff, but more my management staff. Is I've walked into a room and I've had really, really negative energy, and it's what I do it when my team has that negative energy, meaning
Mm.
I see a lot of negativity in the field. So I'll walk into a room with them and just not be nice, just provide that negative energy, and then within 3 minutes, just stop and be like, "Did you guys like it? All right. Do you ever see me do this? Is that how I portray myself?" And then we go back to the positivity, right? And that's positivity breeds positivity, negativity breeds negativity. And that's a big thing culturally too. So if I see those guys that are kind of bringing everyone down, I just say, thank you for the opportunity to work together. This isn't going to work. It's going to be a short-term loss, but a long-term gain
Mm.
constantly. You don't want those bad apples, because those bad apples bring a lot of people down.
You
A lot of
gotta,
people.
yeah, you gotta weed them out, and you lead by example, which is
Yeah.
awesome. I think that's the way to do it. When you're trying to bring in new recruits or new hires, what is the way that you recruit today?
I ask individuals, like, if they have anyone that has I go after good humans, because I can develop good humans. It's hard
Mm.
to go after talent. Talent's always difficult, or in any market sector you're at. So I'm a big proponent of understanding that we're going to have people come and go, but the more you can develop people, the more um, they'll have some loyalty towards you, and also too, you get to mold them. But the problem with that, it's not instant satisfaction, so it's going to take a year or two to really get their potential out, which I'm okay with, and I understand, because I've tried to grow too fast, and I hit too many wrinkles, and I didn't see the reward in it. I was the fastest growing company in Hawaii, and I believe it was 2019 for Handy Annie Hawaii. um, 2000 2007, the revenue was like 600,000, and I went to 5.5 million. And I just found too many hiccups that I wasn't personally satisfied with. So I think a lot of times, like, can you grow revenue, and can you do these things, and are you happy with where you're at? And I wasn't happy with where I was at. I
Mm.
didn't enjoy work. I didn't enjoy the development process, and I understood why, because we were really going after revenue. When we were going after revenue, you take everything and anything, in terms of work, and my staff wasn't prepared for it. They weren't skilled enough to handle the obstacles. Where now, um, you grow a little bit more organically, and you allow your team to go through those trials and tribulations together, and that then allows them to overcome the obstacles without infusing you, which is
Mm.
huge. And that's a big proponent for me right now. Is nothing really gets to me until it needs to be a decision made, meaning, how do you want to do this? We can go this route or this route. You pick. And it's like, okay, let's go this route. Rather than me coming up to the divide in the road and having developed all those alternatives. Um, so yeah, it's about a lot of learning experience though over time. And I think if people are worried about failure, then you probably shouldn't be in the position of being the leader, because the failures typically will provide the most scar tissue, and definitely allow you to understand it's part of growth, as well as understand, hey, like, if this was easy for everyone, everyone would be doing it. So you just
Yep.
have to take the context that this is something we take upon ourselves, and um, it's good fun every day. You got to keep your head on your shoulders and a smile on your face, and just keep moving forward.
Man, you have such a big spike in the revenue too. Did you do anything special, even from like a marketing standpoint? How do you get yourself out there?
So we spent quite a bit of money on marketing. So we did a lot of online marketing from Facebook,
Mm,
Instagram. Instagram was very big at that time. We did, let's see, um, we did a lot of community items. So we would go to pretty much like every sales show. We had people on the ground, so quite a bit of follow-ups. We developed whatever we could do with like the news industry for social proof. We would get
mm,
ourselves out there. So it was all boots on the ground to try and generate and get the phone ringing. And the phone was ringing a lot. I mean, we would get 40 leads a day, which on the handyman side of things is
wow.
crazy. Yeah, and understanding that the handyman space is very complex, and the reason it's so complex is if you're an electrician, somebody calls you for electrical work. Well, we're getting calls for like everything, right? And sometimes we didn't have the skill set A to do the work, or B to even bid the work. You're like, I have a handle on my window and it's broken. And it's like, okay, well, we need to source the handle. Then once we source the handle, then we can give you a price, and then we can give you, and there it's like, well, you figure out the handle's, $8, but when you have to go there 4 times because it doesn't match, and you only have $150 in like a bid, like it doesn't make sense. So you have to understand like where your market space fits.
Mm.
This is a lot of things that we learned along the way that I was just like, whoa, okay, we're
That's
building revenue, but is it smart revenue? Is it financially profitable?
something that you said at the beginning. You do advertising on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
What do you see more fruitful, Facebook or Instagram?
Instagram, I think, because as much as you would get Facebook leads, Instagram gives you more touches. And typically, once you hit 12 touches in terms of your logo or this or your slogan, people will start to come back to. So we were able to tap people more in terms of understanding who we are and what we do.
Mm.
And that then creates them to say, oh, yeah, I would saw you on Instagram. And then I saw one of your vans, and then it's like, I figured I'd give you a call. So you're like, oh, okay, cool, thank you.
Nice. Do you make it like any Instagram reels and stuff like that?
We were trying to really, so it was pay to play, honestly. That's
Oh,
yeah, a lot of that. And then, so if you can push yourself out there in the local community, it was a big thing. And then we also had a proponent, we had a lot of veteran guys that were coming out of the service, and we are trying to make it a transitional employment platform for them.
cool.
Um, yeah, so it was something that was pretty neat, and we were trying to develop a platform for them to come, and we would train them for 2 years. It didn't take off like we wanted to. I had some partnership issues, and it kind of fell down the roots of what we were trying to do, and now it's just more of like a traditional handyman company. I would love to get back there, but it just takes a lot of capital in order to get there, and I understand that. I've been on the bottom side of that, so
Mm.
uh, it's a difficult market space without proper training, and there's no one that really has proper training for the handyman space currently, besides just saying, I've been part of renovations, high-end renovations, and so that's where I kind of feel comfortable in that space because I used to do everything, but not everyone has the same training or background, and it's a unique background.
Do you ever utilize technology to help with any of that type of stuff, any back office stuff, um,
Yeah,
even in the field?
every company, we use a wide variety of technology to be able to really facilitate our needs. So we use technology for all of our CRM, and then all of our accounting programs, as well as a huge one that we use is we have a company wide. We don't use text message anymore. We use Slack. So the reason I bring that up is we use that constantly, and that way it's an internal form of communication. That's probably what we use the most on a day-to-day basis outside of our accounting, CRM, and
Nice.
uh, like job platforms. I just have found great value in understanding that we're all in one place. I don't need side text messages everywhere and no one can see anything. Oh, sorry, I didn't know you weren't on that one. Like,
Oh yeah.
okay. So,
Well, where do people find your business? So where do you strictly do business? I mean, it might be a dumb question to say just
yeah.
Hawaii, but yeah.
So you're gonna laugh at this one. So, well, the Kukulu'ana Management's a little bit different. So we're on all islands. So we're managing quite a bit of property. We have one development in Maui right now. We have one development in Kona. We're working on a couple developments for Outrigger in Oahu. But all of our other businesses are all in Oahu. And actually, something I might try and portray to people is so our construction company, one of the facets I was noticing is we were too spread out. So I really decided that we were just going to stay in Waikiki, and we were only going to do work in Waikiki. And this is when COVID hit, and everyone laughed at me and my company. And I was like, no, we're just going to stay in Waikiki. And now we'll have 8 to 10 trucks just simply working in Waikiki every single day. And it's been very fruitful because you don't have an hour drive here, an hour drive there. I can steal a van that has this tool and bring it here. But if you want to focus on a market sector and you want to capitalize it, you will do it. It's just going to take time. It took us about 2 years to be able to get there. And everything you do is going to take time. It doesn't happen overnight. You need an opportunity, and then you need to capitalize on it. You got to take the next opportunity and capitalize on it. And before you know it, you'll have too much work and you won't know what to do with it.
Is it easy for people to get a hold of you? Do they just go to a specific website for each company? Is that how it works?
Oh yeah, pretty much all of the companies are, Google them and you'll find them on, ElliottConstructionGroup.com, Handy Annie Hawaii, ServiceDivision.us, Rescue One Restoration.us, SureStepHawaii.com, and Kukulu'ana Management.com. So we're just we don't do a whole lot of advertising, and the reason I've been besides the handyman company and restoration company, so those two services are more in need. The other ones are more planned. Is I've noticed that I enjoy my clients and I enjoy developing clients a little more organically. When I get clients that are raw off the internet, sometimes I don't really know how they act or this or that. So I've just been a little bit more patient in understanding that, the work will come. It's just, who do you want the clients to be?
The last question that I have before we wrap up, do you have any advice for new construction owners that you'd like to share with the listeners?
Yeah. Understand your market, understand your cost, and capitalize on that and do good work. Because at the end of the day, don't try and be someone you're not. I see it happen all the time, and people are very unsuccessful at it. If you're good at something, doesn't mean you're going to be good at everything, right? So, the classic thing is the taper tries to paint, and you're like, just stay taping. Just do your thing, man. You're good at that. So yeah, that would be a big one. And then also don't be afraid to take on opportunities. Make sure they don't financially hurt you, but every risk you take, there's opportunity behind it, whether it's financially or whether it's a learning experience.
Thank you for being a guest on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Please, everyone, like, subscribe, comment, and share the Builder Upper Show with anyone in the construction industry. We will see you next time. If you're a construction contractor and would like to appear as a guest on our podcast, write us an email. It's lou@lumberfi.com.